The term culture originates from the Latin word cultivate. Communities are generally made up of people who share cultural characteristics. These cultural characteristics are defined by various influences, including geographical, spiritual, and agricultural considerations. Certain cultures impose distinct limitations or boundaries that make them unique. The purpose of this program is to introduce you to the most interesting and unique cultures from around the world. British writer Aldous Huxley once wrote, "If the world had any ends, British Honduras would certainly be one of them." It lies between Mexico and Guatemala on the northeastern coast of Central America. It's known as Belize, the name of an unforgettable place. In the second half of this episode, we will head south from the Caribbean to Argentina and Mendoza. Mendoza is well known by those that love red wine. This tiny Caribbean country, previously known as British Honduras, was one of the last established British colonies. In 1981, having gained independence, the country's name was changed to Belize. Though it gained independence, just like Australia, it has remained part of the British Commonwealth. Belize is home to several unique cultures. It is also known as nature's best-kept secret. Belize has myriad natural wonders, including a coast lined by a coral reef, rainforests containing the remains of the Mayan civilization, beautiful caves with river sources, and waterfalls so magnificent they bewitched world-famous movie director Francis Ford Coppola. The British used the coral reef to enforce their rule in this part of Central America, which was otherwise dominated by the Spanish. Sailing has always been dangerous here because of the number of sandbanks and atolls. While the Spaniards were afraid to venture here, British pirates were not. Surely you've heard of the Pirates of the Caribbean. The coral reef of Belize is the second largest in the world. It is 260 kilometers long and stretches some 16 to 40 kilometers from shore, with an average depth of 3 meters. Though pirates are a thing of the past, today's life on these picturesque islands certainly isn't risk-free. For example, in 1961, Hurricane Hattie pretty much sliced the island of Cape Cocker in half. Regardless of the whims of nature, life on Belize generally flows in harmony with a laid-back Caribbean rhythm. This can be partly attributed to hippies that left the U.S. in the 1960s and set up their dream community here. The hippies may be gone, but their relaxed tempo of life has survived. These golf carts are an ecological and practical means of transportation for getting around an island that is only 6 kilometers long. The hippies would be happy to see only sandy roads and still absolutely no reason to rush about. Small airplanes are just as essential for inter-island transportation. The Plasencia Peninsula, which stretches 16 kilometers from the Belize coast, has the world's second longest beach. It is not the only record Belize can boast. This pavement happens to be the most narrow boulevard in the world, and as you can see, it is quite busy. The local Easter celebrations are noteworthy.
Hey, you gotta get my people, you gotta get my people too, yeah!
On Belize, anyone expecting to see the Easter holiday observed in a traditional way is in for a shock. The celebration here looks a little bit different. You won't find any Easter eggs or candles. Bunnies, however, even if not precisely Easter bunnies per se, are plentiful. Easter on Belize will include local bikini-clad beauties participating in an uninhibited dance. The Miss Placencia beauty pageant may seem a far cry from the Christian Easter traditions, but on Belize, it is simply a part of Easter. The celebrations last long into the night, but the surrounding villages are up early in order to return to the hustle and bustle of everyday life, such as it is. Foreigners accustomed to the frenetic pace of modern civilization may find this statement over the top because life on the island is a whole lot slower and more easygoing. The Garifuna people, an ethnic minority whose unique culture has become part of the UNESCO World Heritage, exemplify the slower way of life. The Garifuna people only live within Central America, in the countries of Belize, Honduras, and Nicaragua. Caribbean Indians are the direct ancestors of the Garifuna people. They blended with African slaves brought to the Caribbean by Europeans. As a result of their intermarriage, these two ethnic groups exchanged more than gene pools. Their individual cultures morphed into something completely different. The result is an absolutely unique cultural mix which can be seen, by way of example, in the works of Garifuna artists. The best-known Garifuna artist is Benjamin Nicholas. In his subject, Mr. Nicholas combines the colorful nature of African art with a naive technique and the Garifuna everyday way of life. The hand drum represents an important aspect of this culture. The African roots of the Garifuna people has instilled in them a sense of rhythm and a love of drums. To show their respect for this ancestral legacy, the Garifuna people have put up a monument called the Drums of Our Fathers. The Hopkins village is living proof that this heritage is still vibrant. Life carries on in the traditional manner. The natives communicate in the Garifuna language. Hopkins village is also well known for the Lebeha drumming center. When the villagers hear a few beats played on a mahogany wood and deer-hide drum, they fill Lebeha, ready and willing to let the rhythm take over their bodies and souls. For some, drumming is more than just a pastime. There are two main styles of drumming. The faster style is punta and is meant for dancing. The slower paranda style often has a spiritual dimension and is used as part of a healing treatment. This is the same continent in the same century. We are still in Belize. However, we are now in the territory of the Orthodox Anabaptist sect of Mennonites. They originally came from Europe, having first spent several centuries traveling the world. In the 1950s, the vast majority of the sect settled in this part of Belize. It is a closed, autonomous community with its own schools and churches, and lives according to a very strict set of rules. For example, they do not use electricity or cars. Their means of transport are these ancient-looking coaches. Agricultural machines are an exception. There is a catch though. Even tractors must have metal wheels. The rationale behind this particular rule remains unknown. In order to pass on the work of their ancestors, they stick to their simple traditions. Long before Belize was occupied by pirates, African Garifuna, Mennonites, or hippies, the advanced civilization of Maya ruled this land. While today only 300,000 people live in Belize, at the beginning of the Mayan era, the country contained more than 1 million people. It is said that the Maya gave Belize its name. It most probably originates from the Mayan word BELIZE, which translates to muddy water. The first Mayan pyramids were built here around 569 AD. Historical research of the largest Belize Maya center, Caracal, proved that this region had huge historical significance. Around 600 AD, the foundation of Caracal was laid. At the peak of its glory, 150,000 inhabitants lived here. According to uncovered records, it became apparent that Caracal twice defeated the much more famous Guatemalan Tikal, which was long considered the most powerful Mayan kingdom. While our knowledge of ancient Mayan life remains incomplete, one fact is inescapable. The Mayans revered the natural world surrounding their majestic pyramids. They considered caves to be the entrance to the underworld. The entire underground of the Yucatan Peninsula is a maze of cave systems where river sources are often found. One of those is Blue Creek, named after the color of its water. Should you walk against its current, you will encounter a breathtaking 7-kilometer passage into the depths of the earth that will also seem to take you back in time. It is understandable that the mysterious and silent caves also lured the Mayans. These vases have been here together with human sacrifice remains for thousands of years. The Maya believed that caves were the abode of the god Xibalba, ruler of the underworld. Therefore, caves were used to carry out rituals as they were deemed natural temples. The once proud, powerful, and wealthy Maya are a thing of the past. Although their descendants still live in Belize, with one look at Mayan villages today, you can't help but know that their glory days are long gone. The traditional costumes harken back to a time when Mayan pyramids thrived and the sacrificial offerings of humans were presented to their gods. Florencio Mess plays traditional Mayan music on instruments that he built. He is well known throughout Belize for his dedication to keep alive the culture of Mayan music. Florencio gives concerts with his harp, the recordings of which have been distributed worldwide. Though his music appears on CDs and you can even find video performances of him on YouTube, this simple man still lives in a hut that has no electricity. It is time to leave Belize behind. We are grateful to have had the opportunity to be among the wonderful people who seek to continue to maintain such rich cultural traditions. For the balance of our time today, we shall head south to the very heart of Argentina, to the wine region of Mendoza. Bienvenidos a Mendoza. Welcome to Argentina's province of Mendoza. It is located in the middle of South America's second largest country, at the foothills of the mighty Andes. The Andes separate Mendoza from neighboring Chile. Though the climate in Chile is influenced by the humid winds from the Pacific Ocean, the weather is entirely different on the plains of Mendoza. A hot and merciless dry wind blows off the mountains. The region suffers from drought due to insufficient rainfall. Nature has a way of looking after itself. If its weather patterns were otherwise, Mendoza would have never spawned a long-standing wine-making tradition that produces excellent wines. The vineyards are coaxed into production by the skillful Mendocinos as well as the water supply from glaciers. 3/4 of Argentina's wine production comes from Mendoza, and the Malbec produced here is said to be better than the French original. Here we are in Luján de Cuyo, the oldest wine region. It is the beginning of March, and the harvest is starting. Most villagers take part because it is a welcome chance to earn a little money in a place that lacks job opportunities. We are in the southern hemisphere. In the north, winter is turning into spring, but here it is autumn. Harvesting is done manually and carefully. It is demanding work. The collectors fill around 35 of these vessels per day. The absence of machines forces a reliance on human perseverance. Attention! Inspection! Miguel is responsible for supervising the harvest. He gives a chip to the collectors for each vessel filled. At the end of each shift, the chips are exchanged for money at a fixed rate of 50 cents per chip. A skilled collector manages to harvest around 35 baskets per day. Why is Mendoza wine so extraordinary? Besides the thorough manual labor whereby each unwanted stem is removed, the rough climate also plays an important role. The temperature difference between a hot day and icy night can be up to 25 degrees Celsius. The harvest is not just a time of hard labor in the vineyard, it is also a time for traditional celebrations. The Fiesta Nacional de la Vendimia, the Grape Harvest Festival, is about to commence in Mendoza, the capital of the Mendoza region. An important part of this celebration is the beauty pageant, which selects the national Vendimia queen. Photographs of the participants from all of the 18 precincts of the province can be seen all over the capital. The actual celebrations commence with a procession consisting of representatives from individual precincts that work the harvest, together with their candidates for the Beauty Queen. First, we see the girls with Argentine flags, followed by the carnival floats carrying the most beautiful girls in the region. All the participants show the crowd how happy they are to be there. Though some of the girls are a little self-conscious, they all wave just the same. People in the crowd attach baskets to long poles, which they hold out to the girls going by on the float. The girls then place gifts of wine and fruit from their precincts into these baskets. This all takes place on Friday evening. The climax comes Saturday night when Acto Central Nocturno mounts a theatrical event in the amphitheater outside the city. The show is completely sold out. The play consists of an ancient story that remains unchanged. It is the tale of an old winemaker whose harvest was destroyed by a hailstorm. The production has taken on a more modern form over the years. The current production is a spectacular show accompanied by live music and features 800 performers, all against a backdrop of magnificent scenery. The choreography of the pests was particularly impressive this time. As soon as the spectacle ends, the results of the National Vendimia Queen pageant are announced. It is a once-in-a-lifetime event, as noted by the heartfelt speeches of the jury. The beauty queen this year is Candela Carrasco from San Martin. A typical Argentine, don't you agree?
Buenas noches.
Candela tearfully thanks her family and boyfriend, but considering the throngs of admirers in the crowd, that might not be the most sensitive thing for her to do. But as of tomorrow, the hearts of the Mendocinos will belong to Candela as they did to all of her predecessors. This year, the harvest was good and a new beauty queen has been crowned. Let us wish to all the Mendocinos that next year's harvest will be just as successful. Arriba, Mendoza! In today's program, we traveled from the Caribbean all the way to the heart of South America. We went from Belize in Central America, where many cultures from all over the world share a relatively tiny surface area, to the open plains of Argentina with its vineyards and substantial winemaking traditions. In the next episode of Unusual Cultures, we will visit Taiwan, an island with 23 million inhabitants who succeed in maintaining their traditional culture in the face of modern times. A no less colorful cultural mix rooted deep in the past will await us in Jersey, one of the so-called Channel Islands located in the English Channel between France and Great Britain.